Hello everyone. Welcome back to our online meeting. In this session we are going to talk about methodology in ESP. In ESP methodology we need to understand several basic principles. Here number 1 up to number 8 you can read on the slide. Second language learning is a developmental process, and then second language learning is an active process. Number 3, language learning is a decision-making process. Number 4, language learning is not just a matter of linguistic knowledge. Number 5, language learning is not the learner's first experience with the language, and learning is an emotional experience. Language learning is to a large extent incidental, and language learning is not systematic. So they are the basic principles that you need to remember when you are teaching ESP. Next. So we are going to discuss the principle one by one. First one, second language learning is a developmental process. So from the word developmental process, I'm sure you all know that yes, in the development of language learning, language that the learners are learning, so actually the students always use their existing knowledge to make new knowledge comprehensible. So they are having development from what they have known, added by the new knowledge. So there is a development of their mastery or language ability. And then the current knowledge contributes to the success or failure in the learning. So what they understand today will help them to understand the materials in the future learning. So there is also another development in the future. So that's the principle number 1. Next. Second principle, language learning is an active process. So why it is an active process? Because actually when we learn a language, there are 2 activities. Number 1 is psychomotor activity. It is an observable movement of the speech organs, like when we are speaking, for example, we are talking, then our speech organ will do some movements, right? Our tongue, our lips, And then second activity is language processing activities. So the organization of information into a meaningful network of knowledge. So actually when we are learning, we process the language where in our brain. So knowledge and knowledge and knowledge are united into the network in our brain. You are adding, you are adding the content of what you learn into the network of knowledge inside of your head. So this is what we call language is an active process. Why active? Because there are 2 activities. Next. Language learning is a decision making process. Why decision making process? Because in learning, students or learners must be the decision makers. They need to decide what do they need to do so that they are able to learn better. And then next, number 4, language learning is not just a matter of linguistic knowledge. So why it is not a matter of linguistic knowledge? So number 1, you need to know that there is a mismatch between the learner's conceptual and cognitive capacities with the linguistic level. In MT or mother tongue, they are developing together. So if we are learning mother tongue, our language learning, our linguistic knowledge is having the same stage of development as our cognitive development. However, in second language learning, it is different. So second language learners are conceptually and cognitively mature. We are mature. But linguistically, in terms of the second language, we are still infant. Infant itu babies. So we are mature, kita sudah dewasa, but in terms of second language learning or foreign language learning, we are not mature yet. Yeah, we are still like kids, infant, very in the small development. Okay, so this is the meaning of language learning. It's not just a matter of linguistic knowledge. Okay, next. Language learning is not learner's first experience with the language. So actually, when we are talking about language learning, if we are learning English, Arabic, so actually they are not our first experience with the language. Why? Because actually we have been competent, yeah, in our mother tongue, right? And then our first experience is learning the mother tongue. So learning second language, learning the foreign language is not our first experience with the language. So we have been communicatively competent in one language before we learn a second language. Yeah, okay, is that clear? Hopefully yes. Okay, next. Learning is an emotional experience. Yeah, okay, principle 6 say that, well, learning is actually an emotional experience. Why? Yeah, because we bring emotions when we are learning something. Okay, sometimes we feel so happy, sometimes we feel bored, sometimes we feel so enthusiastic. So as a language teacher, our focus should be to develop positive emotions. You should make the students be able to learn with the good feelings in the classroom. So how can we do that? We can use pair and group work to build on existing social relationship. We also can give students time to think and avoid pressure. And then putting less emphasis on the product and more on the process. So try to appreciate the process rather than the product or the result, okay? And then make interesting, fun variety in materials and methodology. Because students use their emotions when learning, so try to make as interesting as possible, yeah, the situation and the learning in a classroom. Okay, next. Language learning is to a large extent incidental, yeah. So remember, we all can learn a language incidentally while we are thinking about something else. Yeah, sometimes we are not aware that we are learning a language, so it just happens suddenly, yeah, incidentally, without any plannings, but actually we are learning. So how? Sometimes when we are coming to a restaurant, we are booking some menus and you are reading the menu and you found some vocabulary related to the food or the drinks or beverages, then you will find out that, oh, I know this word. Oh, this is the word I don't know. So what does that mean? Then you are asking the waitress, for example, yeah, and then they are explaining to you, oh, this means this. So actually you are learning something without really knowing that you are learning. You are not aware that you are learning. Or when you hear some songs, for example, and then you directly imitating how the singer pronounce some words. Yeah, you can just sing as good as the real singer without really learning how to pronounce the words. Yeah, okay, so that's some examples. Next, language learning is not systematic. Yeah, so we learn by systematizing knowledge, but the process itself is not systematic. So actually when we are learning a textbook, the book is sequenced from chapter 1, chapter 2 up to the last chapter. Ideally, the book writer hope that you can understand chapter 1 and chapter 2, chapter 3, but in reality, learning is not systematic. Sometimes you understand chapter 3 better than chapter 1. Sometimes you get the understanding after you reach chapter 5. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, you have very little understanding. Only after coming to chapter 5, you really understand the whole materials. Now this is not systematic, right? Yeah, ideally you understand the simpler materials before the complex material. But in reality, sometimes you understand the complex one, and only after that you understand the simpler materials. Yeah, this is happen. Yeah. Okay. So yes, we need to remember that it is okay that our learning is not systematic. Yeah. Sometimes we put everything in order, but student understanding is not systematic. So that's very common, very normal. Don't worry about that. Okay. So I hope you understand the 8 principles in ESP methodology. Now we are going to continue with the next materials. Yeah. So we are going to discuss simple techniques in ESP lessons. So in ESP lessons, we can use several techniques like gaps, variety, prediction, enjoyment, an integrated methodology, coherence, preparation, involvement, creativity, and also atmosphere. So we can use all of them to improve the classroom situation, especially in ESP class or in ESP programs. Let's see those techniques one by one. Okay, gaps. Okay, I think everyone knows the meaning of gaps, right? So gaps, yeah, here there are so many gaps. What are they? Information gaps, media gaps, reasoning gaps, memory gaps, jigsaw gaps, opinion gaps, certainty gaps. So usually there is an incomplete information which your friend need to complete or which you need to complete. So there is a gap, yeah, a blank. So something is incomplete and you need to complete that with the information provided, yeah. So you need to complete the information in information gaps, and this happen also to the other gaps, memory gaps, jigsaw gaps, opinion gaps, yeah. So like completing the missing information, completing the missing part of the sentence or the text or the conversation. Okay, so we are using the gaps as part of the techniques in teaching ESP. Okay, next. Yes, we can also use the variety. How can we use variety as techniques? So in order to make the classroom situations rich of experience for the students, then we can use variety of medium like text, tape, picture, speech, variety of classroom organization. Yeah, you can make some seating arrangement, whether you want to organize the class into whole classes, pair, yeah, for pair work, individual or groups, yeah, sorry. And then variety of learning roles, you can try to switch the learner's role like as the presenter, evaluator, receiver, thinker, negotiator, and so on and so forth. And then variety of exercise, yeah, activity or task, variety of skills you can teach by using the variety of skills like reading, listening, writing, speaking, graphic skills, and you can use variety of topic and also variety of focus, yeah, focus in accuracy, fluency, discourse, structure, or pronunciation. So make sure you mix all of them so that your class is not monotonous. Okay, next, prediction. So we can also use prediction. Why should we ask the student to predict something? Yeah, so there are some advantages of using prediction. Number one, it builds learners' confidence. It enables teacher to find the gap in the learner knowledge and then make more relevant teaching, and it activates learners' minds. So if I ask you to predict something, then you will start thinking about it. When you start thinking, it means, yeah, your brain is active. And if your guessing is correct, you become very confident, right? So this is the power of prediction. Okay? Next, enjoyment. Yeah, so you also need to bring enjoyment into your classrooms. And the simplest way of always of engaging the learner's mind is bringing the enjoyment. And the most relevant materials are nothing compared to the rich learning environment of an enjoyable experience. So if the material is really good but the students do not enjoy them, yeah, so they mean nothing. So try to focus on how to make students enjoy the learning, okay, rather than how to present very good materials. And it doesn't matter how relevant a study may appear to be. If it bores the learners, it is a bad lesson. Remember, if the lesson make the student bored, it is a bad lesson. Yeah, hopefully ESP is not a bad subject or a bad lesson. Okay, yeah, I hope you are not boring. You are not bored. Sorry, you are not bored, and my subject is not boring for you. Yeah. Okay. Next. An integrated methodology. Oh yes, so in ESP we can use integrated methodology. We can use a range of skills greatly. Why? Because a range of skills greatly increases the range of activities possible in the classroom. If you use integrated methodology, you are combining more than one skills, then the class will be having more activities rather than when you are only focusing on one skill, like speaking only, reading only, or writing only. Okay. Next, coherence. Yeah, you should also use the coherence in your class. Why? Because it should be clear where a lesson is going, and each stage should build on previous stage and lead naturally into the next stages. So from one stage to another stage, from one chapter to another chapter, from one material to another material, I think the lesson should be interrelated, saling berhubungan, ya. Don't present unrelated materials in your course or in your subject, ya. So like us today we are learning about methodology. Why we are learning about methodology? Because we have talked about the syllabus. And in the syllabus, we need the materials. After we finish with the materials, we need to think about how to deliver them. What method, what techniques should we use in presenting the materials to our students? So, methodology is the continuation of the previous topics of our class. Okay? Next, preparation. Of course, as a language teacher, we need to prepare our lesson, yeah. And it is not just teacher preparation but also learner preparation. So ideally before we come to the class, we try to check the topic and try to browse what it is about, or if we have some books, we can read the books before we come into the classroom. So this is a part of teacher preparation and also learner preparation. Okay, we also need to do some involvement. What does that mean? So learners need to be involved cognitively and emotionally in the class. And one simple way is to ask question. Okay, involvement. Ada keterlibatan siswa, ya. So one way is to ask question. If I ask questions, then you will try to answer, right? So we have interactions. I involve you in the discussion. But there are some warnings. Ada warningsnya. Number one, don't ask questions that are hard to answer. And wait for the answer, and learners should feel that their contribution to the lesson is of value. This is to involve them emotionally. Yeah, don't ask a very difficult question. Don't make the students confused, and give them some time to think about the answer, and give them time to really answer the question. Okay? And then creativity. Yes, language is dynamic, and language lesson should reflect this. Activities should allow different possible answer, different level of responses. Remember, different does not mean wrong. Yeah, because we are teaching language and language is dynamic. Yeah, and if you are using some activities, make sure the students are free to give the answers based on their understanding. Don't you provide only one correct answer. Try to think from different perspectives, so that you are open-minded, other students also open-minded, and they can accept the different answers from their friends. Again, different doesn't mean wrong. Okay? Remember that in your mind. Different doesn't mean wrong. And then atmosphere, yeah, try to create good atmosphere in the class, build good relationship between teacher and students, create cooperative social climate in the class. Okay, try to bring positive energy, create. Okay, so again let me repeat, try to bring positive energy in the class, yeah, create good atmosphere in the class, help students to enjoy the teaching and learning activities, yeah, and again accept different answers from different perspective. Okay, yeah, so only when you are implementing that, then the cooperative social climate in the class will be built. Yeah, everybody will feel happy enjoying the ESP lesson. Okay, so I think that's all the material for this session. Thank you so much. If you have question, please post in this the comment, yeah, in the comment space. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a nice day.